Okay, so it's good to see everyone. I enjoyed reading your introductions, and it's up to you. If you'd like to keep your cameras off, you can, and if you'd like to turn them on, that's fine too. It's always nice to see everyone on the first lesson, but it's entirely up to you. Okay, so we will be heading over to our slideshow. Just give me a moment. Started our dua. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Okay, let me just mute everyone, okay? بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما تعلمنا وزدنا علما إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. O Allah, teach us beneficial knowledge and enable us to derive benefit from that which you have taught and increase us in knowledge. Indeed, you are the knowing, the wise. Ameen. Okay, so الدرس الأول. اسمي سمية and my name is Sumaya. I'm originally from South Africa. I've been in this country for about 15 years now, and I'll be teaching you. I'll be with you for the next 6 months, inshallah, if Allah gives us the tawfiq to complete that. And I'm not going to go into a more detailed background about myself because I think I mentioned that in the orientation. So we'll just head over to class. And we start here with this hadith, خيركم من تعلم القرآن وعلمه. So the best of you are those who learn the Quran and teach it. And they actually say that the sadaqah of learning is teaching. So inshallah, one day, all of you will be teaching somebody what you've learned. Just some housekeeping rules. Know that this is a completely safe space. No question is a dumb question. So I welcome questions. It shows that's how we learn. We will not be having breaks in this class because this is a gradual cohort. So it'll be 1.5 hours straight. And when you come to class, as in today, I expect that everybody has already done the prep work, which is on the Kajabi platform, right? So everybody has watched the video. Well, there were 2, right? One for morphology and for grammar. And for next week, you'll be doing the text analysis prep. And I will be cold calling. So I'll be, don't worry, it's fine. Everyone is as uncomfortable as you are. So I'll just be calling on people to attempt and answer. And also what I want to say is that if everyone could just keep themselves on mute unless speaking or called upon. But if you have a question, I would prefer if you just unmute yourself or raise your hand rather than typing in the chat, because sometimes I miss the chat. Okay. Are there any questions before we get into our class? From anyone? Mashallah, we've got a big group today. Okay, I'll take it that everyone's good to go. Okay, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. So we're starting with the Arabic language. Al-Kalimat, Arabic words. So I'll ask for a volunteer today. Who would be willing to give us a summary about the different types of words that we have in the Arabic language? From 26 people, I'm sure. So, okay, Bilal, mashallah, go Bilal. Tafaddan.
Assalamu alaikum. We have 3 types of words. It's the ism, the fa'al, and the harf.
Okay, could you give me like a brief definition of each?
Sure. Yeah, the ism is basically a noun in the Arabic language. Fa'al is the verb. And harf is, I mean, in English, it's considered a piece or like a particle.
Particle, yes.
It's like an identifier for some words, maybe to make it feminine or masculine.
Okay, good, thank you. So can anybody else add to this? Like, what kind of characteristic is associated with the noun versus the verb, for example? How do we, or what's a particle like? You know, can anyone add to this? Give me some extra information.
Yeah, particle is things like and, to, in, I think.
Yes. So a particle has no meaning on its own. It has to be associated with something else for it to have meaning. If I just say two, what is two? Okay, it doesn't really make any sense. What else can you tell me about noun and verb?
Assalamu alaikum. Noun, the isms are independent meaning and they don't convey tense.
Excellent.
So like Muhammad, Rasulun, and fi'l is independent meaning and also conveys tense.
Exactly. So verbs are connected to time and nouns are not. Excellent. Okay, good. So now the question is, how do we recognize what is an ism and a fi'l and a harf? So when you're looking at an ism, right, we have certain indicators that give us a good guess, right? This is not like a blanket thing. That's what we say more often than not, generally speaking. So how are you going to know something is an ism? First of all, you'll see this preceding al. Al is particular to asma. Asma is the plural of ism. Or you might find a tanween, which is an an, or in sound. Verbs will never have these. And then the n vowel does not end in a sukun. And as you know, this is a sukun sign over here, and it's a silent sign of silence. There's no voweling on that, okay? When it comes to a fi'l, similarly, sorry, let me just put this on silence. So when it comes to a fi'l, very often a fi'l will be preceded by one of these letters, which is a hamza, a nun, a ya, or a ta. You could make this into, is it called an acronym like aneitu or anitu? Either of those. I think in the video they must have said anitu. I learned as aneitu. So that will help you remember. This is not going to be like a hard and fast rule because as you can tell that this only pertains to present tense verbs, but it gives you a good guess, okay? When it comes to a harf, they are very short. Huruf are often only 1 or 2 letters, and single huruf letters are connected to the word. For example, if you have fa, right? Then you'd say, for example, fa'andir, right? Fa'andir. Fa'andir. It's going to be connected, right? And af'al, which are verbs, and huruf, they cannot end in a tanween. Just stop me if you have any questions, okay? If you don't, I'll just presume everyone understands and I'll move forward, okay? Okay. Okay, so now I'm going to start calling on people. Bismillah. So, Abdul Hay, are you with us?
Yes, assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam. So, well, number 1 is already showing that the word ila is a harf. You can see it's very short, doesn't have an al, has got no tanween, and etc. So, Abdul Hay, could you do number 2? Is number 2 an ism, a fi'l, or a harf?
It's an ism.
Yes, good. Do you know what it means?
Yeah, Lord.
Yes, thank you. Adem. I don't know if I should say Adam or Adem. What do you prefer? Adam? Adam? Are you there? Are you with us?
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
It's Adam.
Say it again.
Adam?
So say Adam.
Yeah, you can say Adam. Yeah, it's fine.
Adam. Like the very Americans say Adam. Hmm?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, Adam. Okay, so what is al-buyut?
It's an ism.
You know what it means?
Houses.
Yes, if you don't know what it means, it's fine. I'm just, extra knowledge is always better.
Yeah.
Aiza, kataba?
It's a fi'l. It means he wrote.
Yes, good. Amara, fi?
Assalamu alaikum. B is a harf.
You know what it means?
Yes, it means in.
Good. Aziz, mu'minun.
Believers, and it's a ism.
Good. Bilal,
Insan, it's an ism, and it means people.
so it's actually singular. Nas would be people, insan would be a person, like a human being, a person. Okay. Thank you. Bushra, taktubu.
تكتب is a fail.
Good.
And it has to do with the writing. I'm not sure. He writes.
Well, we'll get to the conjugation, but they should say it's you write. But yeah, it's got to do with writing. That's very good. Okay, that is Bushra, right? Celso?
Hi, assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam. I think we've met before.
Yeah, I was in the previous cohort, but I couldn't.
Okay.
Due to the conflict, I had to continue with this one.
Okay, well, good. I'm glad that you're back. So
Yeah.
what about bil kitaba?
Bil kitab, I think is ism. I don't really know the right meaning for it.
Okay, so what's going on here? There are actually two things happening here.
Yeah, it's a prefix and a suffix, right?
Not a prefix and a suffix. A prefix, no. Over here we have a particle plus a noun.
Okay.
Which part is the particle?
The bil?
Just the B. Just the B. The B is the particle over there. I'll show you, yeah. Okay. And then this word, al-kitaba, that is going to be your noun. Okay.
Is that the book? A book?
No, kitaba is it means writing. So
right.
by writing or with writing. Okay, good. But it's got something to do with writing, right? Or book. Okay, so Fatih?
It's an ism.
Good. You know what it means?
I think it means Lord. Oh no,
Rusul is the plural of Rasul.
our lords.
Lords would be Rab. What's a Rasul? Muhammad.
Messenger.
Yes, so Rusul are messengers, plural. Okay, thank you. That is Fatih. So I'm going to go now to Faiza. Okay, Faiza, are you with me?
I am.
Okay, so for each ayah below, classify each word if it's an I, F, or H, right? Ism, fi'l, or harf. And then, okay, so let's start with number 1.
So, Allahus Samad. So Allah will be an ism, and
Yes.
Samad will also be an ism.
Yes, good. Well done. I'm sorry, that was Faiza, right? Okay, you can just mute yourself when you are done. Okay, then Hadi, not Hadi A, but just Hadi.
Assalamu alaikum.
Salam.
So Wallahu, I think, is an ism.
Well, let's break it up. What's the wa?
That's a harf.
Yes. Okay, and then Allah, lafzul jalala.
That's an ism. Qadir, ism also, I think.
Yes.
And then the wa is a harf again. And then Allahu is ism. And then Ghafurun ism. And then ism.
Good. So every time we come across the word Allah, you'll hear me add Allah, lafzul jalala. Lafzul jalala is the pronouncement of majesty. So there is so much of adab, decorum with Allah, that even when we're studying language, even if it's grammar, like we wouldn't say Allah is the subject. We say Allah, lafzul jalala, that's the subject. So you kind of add that out of respect to even the name of God. So you'll get used to it, but we say that. Okay, so Hadi A.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. So just this underlined word, wa naktubu. I think
So
the naktubu, not the wa.
not the wa.
No, I think it's just naktubu.
Naktubu. Something to do with writing. I
Yeah,
can't.
you don't have to know the meaning, but just if you can identify.
Oh, yes.
Really?
Oh no, sorry. It's not ism. It's the not ism, not harf. Fa'al.
It's a fi'l. It's got no al, no tanween, And it happens to be preceded by one of the letters of anaitu. Hamza, Noon, Ya, and Ota. Okay. Okay, good. Means we write. Okay, and Hawa.
All right. We have B is harf. As-samawati. So this is ism.
Yes.
Wa is harf. Arda is ism. Lillahi.
Okay, wait, you can stop there. I'm going to ask somebody else. So this is a bit of a long one. Okay, I think that Jamila, you wanted to be skipped, right? Okay, so Khalid. What's going
I don't know how to separate this one. I tried to, but I know should be harf, but I can't identify where it is.
Yeah, you're right. Okay, so it's a harf plus a
Ism.
Exactly. So what's going on here? You have li, which is a harf, plus Allah. And then there's an assimilation that takes place. And then they combine and it looks like this. Lillahi. I can't tell you how many times, some of us, we like to respond to greetings in Arabic. And then I see so many times when I ask people, how are you? Then they'll type back and they'll say, Alhamdulillah. And that's not right. Because that says Alhamdulillah. You've got to drop that. And then this becomes the merging. It's Lillah, Alhamdulillah. So yeah, that's a combination there. Yeah, go ahead.
So when you say lillah, is the shadda somehow doing the la? I couldn't identify where the alif and the lam is.
Yeah. So you have li, and it's going to join here, right? This over here, by the way, is called a hamzatul wasal. Hamzatul wasal, I also call it like the wobbly hamza because it's not a very stable hamza. Hamzatul wasal, you'll either find like a little squiggle over there, or you'll find a little squiggle over there. What happens when you have a hamzatul wasal is that when it is preceded by something, you don't mention it. It disappears. That's why we don't say Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. You just say Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. You don't mention the what was called a helping hamza. This, however, is called the hamzatul qata'. It's what I call the hard hamza. And it can be on top or it can be at the bottom. This one, you are always going to say it all the time. Like if I say, for example, the name Ahmed, it's always going to be Ahmed. I'm not going to ever drop this hamza. So that said, this is a hamzatul wasal over here. So you're not going to say this anyway. And so now you've got like now li, and then you've got like two lams here. So these all merge and it just becomes lil. It's actually a dagger alif. There's an elongation. You have two counts, by the way. That's a dagger alif. Lil, la, hi. So those lams have just merged. And because this hamza is superfluous, we don't mention it. Does it help someone?
Yes, I understand.
Okay, you can then finish up with kataba ala.
Okay. Kataba fi'il ala harf in Ar-Rahman.
Sorry, what did you say? Yeah, Rahma is what?
Ar-Rahma is ism.
Good. Okay, good. Thank you. Muhammad, Muhammad Usman. For أعوذ.
That's fi'l.
Good. And what about B?
That's harf.
Good. Any questions, anyone? Okay. Okay, so next we'll have Muna. You're up next for next time. So introduction to noun case. Okay. Okay, this is now where you need to really focus. Okay, because when I was first introduced to noun case, I had no clue what in heaven's name was going on here. But that's because I was not explained to properly. Okay, so hopefully we can do this. So in Arabic, nouns have variable endings depending on their function in the sentence. The same word can be rendered in different ways depending on context. For example, sometimes you'll notice there's a un sound. It will be Muhammadun Rasulullah. However, sometimes you'll see an an sound. Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. And sometimes you'll see an in sound. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammad. And why is this happening? The reason why this is happening is because this un, an, and in, right? They all denote a different function. Okay, a different function. And so if it's a un, it's giving you information about what is the function, grammatical function of this word. If it's an an sound, it's giving you indication. How I like to mention it is that like if you see a doctor is typically wearing a white lab coat. So the white lab coat is an indicator of the person's function, that they are very likely a physician, okay? And similarly, if it's an artist, you know, you'd see maybe like an art smock, art apron on and some brushes or something. So the appearance, it's giving information about what's the role or function, what's the job. This is kind of similar, okay? So where else have you seen this concept before? قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ إِنَّ اللَّهَ وَمَلَائِكَتَهُ يُصَلُّونَ عَلَى النَّبِيِّ. And then you have بِسْمِ اللَّهِ الرَّحْمَنِ الرَّحِيمِ. And by the way, this is why it is so important to recite Quran with the correct harakat. These diacritical marks, we call them either harakat or tashkilat. Because if you just change one harakat, you will change the entire meaning of the sentence, because now instead of saying that Allah, for example, is the subject, you actually making him the receiver of the action, like he's now the direct object. And that could possibly be quite blasphemous. So it's important to always be very particular about attributing the correct harakat or tashkilat to the recitation. We have actually the same thing in English. In English, I'll say, who is that? But I'll say, to whom does this book belong? Okay. And I'll say, whose book is this? So we use these depending on if it's talking about the subject or the object, right? If I say, who are you? That's the subject. But if I say, to whom does this book belong? Now that's going to be like the receiver, right? The object, the direct object, right? So can these be used interchangeably, or is there a specific time to use each one? So of course they have different jobs, right? Okay, is everyone with me so far? If anyone's not with me, just stop me. Okay, so now we're going to have to give these, how do I call them? We're going to call them cases. We're going to give the cases names. Okay. Now, this is where it gets a bit abstract, because you might think, what does this even mean? Because even in English, we don't know this stuff. Like in English, the rough case is what we call the nominative case. I didn't even really know what was nominative and accusative and genitive until I studied Arabic, because we don't typically use these terms even in English, right? The nasb case is going to be what we call the genitive case in English. No, sorry. This is going to be the accusative case in English, and then the jar case is going to be what we call the genitive case. So R, N, and J. Raf, nasb, and jar. These are just names of a case. Okay. Okay, so whenever we see the dhamma, for example, Allahu Akbar. Okay, let me just write this down. Say, for example, we have here Allahu. Okay, Allahu. Now I can say that this has got a dhamma, so this is giving me information that this word is actually in raf case. And I've learned that words that are in this case are actually the subject. They are the subject. So subject of a sentence will be in raf case. If I say, for example, a'budu Allah, a'budu Allah. Okay, that means I worship God. Yeah, you can see that, okay, well, I see this got a fatha. This is giving me information that this word is in the nasb case. I have learned that nasb words are the direct object, and it is, because who do you worship? I worship Allah. I worship Allah. Allah is the receiver of this verb. So you can see different different role over there. If I say, for example, that I give charity lillah, lillahi, for God or to God. See this kasra? Okay, this is telling me it's in jar case. And now I know, I've learned that words that come after prepositions are going to be in jar case. So this is what's happening here. So these are merely names of the cases. Sorry, these are the names of the cases, and this is how it's described. It's kind of like this word is marfu'. It's in the raf case, so it's rafified. That's what marfu' means. Okay, this is the case. This is showing me it's a nasb case. When I say it's mansub, it's nasbified. That's what it means, mansub. Jar, it's jarified. Okay, but we call it that the word itself will be marfu', mansub, majroor. Any questions on this?
One question. Should we memorize these technical terms?
Absolutely. Yes.
I see.
Yeah, this is going to come up a lot. This is like now laying the foundation. And we will be talking about marfu, mansub, and majroor, level 6 and beyond. Okay.
I had a question.
Yes.
So in the last, in the genitive, it says after a preposition, but here you've got lillah. So you have the harf before the noun.
Yes, so this is a harf of jar. This is a preposition.
And so that's why it's got the kasra underneath it.
Yes. So let me say something. All words, the default case is going to be the raf case. That's your default. A word is only going to become nasb or jar if it is being impacted by something that is making it into nasb case or jar case. In this situation, it is the harf of jar that is impacting the word and making it into jar case. So whenever we use general examples, like in the exercises, you'll see a lot of raf because that is your standard. That's like your default. Okay.
I have a question.
Yes.
So you said default case is going to be raf. And we can assume there are going to be just 3 kinds of is. If it's not raf, then I have to look for whether it's falling in nasb or jar. Is that a right assumption?
Did you say that if a word is not in raf case, you've got to check if it's in nasb or jar?
Yes. That's how we should be identifying it? Okay.
I mean, well, we're going to see examples right now. We're going to see also, by the way, this all pertains to nouns, guys. Verbs are a whole other ball game, and we'll get there later. So we are doing the 3 cases that pertain to nouns. So do you have another question?
I have another one. So for jar, we talk about it's after preposition. So expect a harf before the noun. In that case,
repeat the question.
Expect a harf. Like in this case, you gave us an example of lillah, where lam is harf, and then ism Allah is preceded. So do we expect this type of a case that there will be a harf joined or prefix of an ism in jar case?
Okay, so since this is a very introductory phase, we're just giving you the idea of these cases. The jobs are not all listed here. For example, if you see a word that is marfu', that's telling you possibly that it's the subject of a sentence, but that's not the only situation when you're going to find a word in raf case. There are going to be a couple other situations, right? If you see a word that is mansub, you can't say immediately that's a direct object because there are actually many situations when a word can be a mansub, but those we'll do at a more advanced level. In level 1, when you are presented with a maf'ul, with a mansub word, and I ask you, why is this mansub? I'm not expecting any other answer other than it's a direct object, because that's all that we're learning in level 1 regarding why a noun would be in nasb case. When it comes to your jar question, absolutely, there are 2 situations when a word is going to be majroor. 1, if it follows a harf of jar. Now keep in mind that the category of huruf, there are many kinds of huruf that fit into the harf category. So it's not after every harf, you're going to find a ism that is majroor. It's only if it's a harf of jar, which is like a harf that has like jarifying impact, okay? So in this situation, li is a harf of jar, but not like you get other huruf that are not ones that are harfing, jarifying. There is another situation when a word would be in majroor case, but we'll do that at I think in further down in our like in a few months. I think we'll do that. So similarly, if I ask you at this level right now, why is this word majroor? You will say because it comes after harf of jar, because that's all that you've been presented with, and that's all I'm going to ask you. Okay, does that answer your question?
Yes.
Okay, good. Any other questions?
I had one question.
Yes.
Is the harf of jar, is there a list of them?
Yes, they are.
In the book?
There should be. I'll look for it. There should be one. I'll find it. I'll let you know, inshallah, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay. Okay, so that was our grammar intro. If you have questions, fire away, because as you know, this is the gradual cohort. So what you would be doing with the normal cohort, we're dividing into 2 classes. So we actually have lots of time. So if you have any questions,
can you give another example besides Allah in these? So
yes, absolutely, I can.
Yeah.
Okay, if I say, for example, marfu', I say like this. Let me use the word Muhammad. Can I use Muhammad? I'll say Muhammadun, Muhammadun Rasul. Muhammad is the Rasul. This is your subject, and that's your predicate. This is going to be Muhammadun. Oh, by the way, let me show you, right? When we do tanween, when you write a dhammatain, you can either write it like this, or you could write it like this, or you could write it like this with the hook, just so you know, okay? That's if I might write it in those ways. So when I say Muhammadun Rasul, I see this is a dhamma. Okay, this over here is the subject. It's marfu'. It has to be marfu'. If I say that ra'aytu, this means I saw. Ra'aytu, it's going to be Muhammad. Who can guess?
Muhammadan.
Muhammadan, right? Direct objects answer the question of who or what. What did you see? I saw Muhammad. So it's going to be Ra'aytu Muhammadan, nasb case. If I say, for example, I walked past Muhammad, it's going to be Marartu, I passed by, bi Muhammadin. I passed by Muhammad. Yeah, you've got a harf of jar. It's impacting Muhammad, and that's why it's going to be majroor. Does it help?
yeah, that helps. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so now we're going to move on to morphology. Okay, so let me explain now what's the difference between morphology and grammar. When you're looking at grammar, grammar is where you look at a string of words. Let's go back to where we were. I wonder if I can actually undo. Okay, here we go. Let's say we have a string of words. Let's say, for example, marartu bi Muhammadin. Okay, you have a string of words. No,
I found this on the web for have a string of example letter to be
no, Siri, I'm not
Check
talking
it
to you.
out.
Sorry. Very rude. Okay, anyway, so here we have marartu bi Muhammadin. So when we're looking at grammar analysis, we are looking at the relationship between words. Like, how does this, impact that? B is impacting Muhammad. You're looking at a string of words and their relationship between them. That's grammar. When we do morphology, morphology is where you zoom in and you're actually looking at words in isolation and how they are formed the way that they are. So these are 2 totally different subjects, okay? So you understand the difference? So now we're going on to morphology. In morphology, unfortunately, there's no easy way around it. You will have to do quite a bit of memorizing. With morphology, we do morphological drills because all of Arabic language is based on conjugation, okay? When conjugation of, it's a language that's very sensitive to number and to gender. So it's not, English is way, way, way simpler, okay? Yeah, you're going to think of like number, and gender, and we're talking about third person or second person or first person. And so it might be a bit intimidating initially, but you will get it eventually. And you need to learn this so smoothly that if I wake you up at 3 o'clock in the morning and I say, do your drills, you can say it like the back of your hand. If you don't do that, it's going to become very challenging for you, because this is like the foundation of the building that we're trying to build. Okay, so we're going to start with الضمير المنفصلة. What does this mean? ضمير is a pronoun. The plural is ضمائر. منفصلة means to be detached, separate. They're not connected to anything. They're just on their own. Like in English, we'll say he, she, they, you, us, we. Okay, those are not us, the we. Those are detached pronouns. Okay, so let me explain what's going on this table. Ghaib means third person. And I use hand actions. And I've made a video for this. If you'd like to see the video, I can send it to you to use for your practice, because I'm a very visual person. For some people, they just want to learn a table like that, and that's absolutely fine. I think like in space and pictures. So ghaib is third person. That's somebody who's not there. They're not in front of you. Okay, that's like a he, it's a she, it's the they, it's the two of them, it's the them, they, third person. The mukhatab is the you. You are in front of me. It's you, you two, all of you, all of you, okay? Mutakallim is the I or the we. Okay, I or the we. Yes, how I'll do that. Okay. So what we're going to do here, I'm going to go through this with you. So mudhakkar means masculine, mu'annath means feminine. So look at this. There are three things that we are paying attention to here. Am I talking about something that is first person, second person, or third person? Am I talking about something that is male or female? And am I talking about something that is singular, dual, and plural? So I'm going to go through this whole chart, and then I'm going to show you with the hand actions. So huwa is he, huma is they two, male. Plural is hum, those men. Feminine will be she, here. The two of those women are huma, same. And all of those women are going to be hunna. Second person. You, male, is anta. The two of you, male, is antuma. All of you, guys, is antum. And by the way, with the antum, with the plural, you can have 1,000 women and you have one man in the group, you'll still be all of you men. You'll use the male, because when we use the female pronoun, it's particularly feminine. Yani no men in there at all. Let's look at feminine. We'll say anti for feminine, you, and then you have the two of you, same like the male two, antuma, and then you have all of you women, which is antunna. Now we have mutakallim, ana, I. Or we have the nahnu, we. What else can I mention here? You're going to come across this noon shadda over here quite a bit. This noon shadda is a very feminine thing. It's a very feminine plural thing. You're going to see this in other situations too, okay? So let me show you how I do it, if you can follow with me. In my mind, this is the male side of the room. This is the female side of the room. This is third person, this is second person, and this is first person. So when I'm memorizing this and I find this is so useful, I go like this, huwa. So you can see it's one person I'm talking about. It's third person and it's the male side of the room. So huwa, huma, hum, hiya, huma, hunna, anta, antuma, antum, anti, antuma, antunna, ana, nahnu. And I find that that's very useful. If you want to use it, go ahead. I can send you the video. I'll do that later. Otherwise, you can do it however else you want. But as you can see, the way I do it in the drill, I go across. Okay, so I'm going to start now. I think it's Muna with third person. Yeah, what would this be? What would be the correct pronoun that goes with this?
It would be huwa.
Thank you. Amr?
Antuma.
Yes, good, because it's in front. أنتما. رميز.
هم.
Good. رانيا.
أنتن.
Good. أنتن. Say it for me. أنتن.
أنتن.
Yes, good. There's a shadda on the noon. This is shadda over here. Okay. I think it's Sophia. Sophia, are you with me?
Sorry, I had unmute. Okay, first person. Nahnu.
Nahnu, very good. Okay, please, can you forgive me if I'm not saying this properly? Sainabu? Is that right?
It's Sainabu.
Sainabu. Saina. Okay, I remember that. Sainabu.
Anna.
Anna. Sajjad.
That's also Anna.
Yes, Anna. Male or female is going to be Anna. Shazia.
Antuma.
Antuma. Yes, thank you. And then Usama.
Oh, sorry. Hunna.
Unna. I think I'm skipping you. Okay, then Yusuf. No, this way. Yusuf, are you here? Antum. Zakaria, can you go?
Yes. Female. Is it here?
Third person is here. Yes, good job. What is the correct pronoun? Okay, they want second person. So I'm going to go back to Abdul Hay.
Antuma.
Oh,
Or
sorry.
Anti.
Sorry. They've got now a
Oh,
match.
there's two.
I don't know, because if I keep, are they going to give me more?
Three.
Okay, here we go. They're giving, that's good enough. Okay, what's the second?
So Antum.
Antum. Yes, good. Adam? Adam, you there? Yeah.
Sorry, I locked my screen on accident. This one is.
Okay, sorry. You see, I don't know what they're going to tell me here. So there we go. There's a guy who decided to join the
So now it's whom?
third person. It's whom. Yes. Okay. Isa? Okay, no, sorry. We're done here. So keep in mind that there is no neuter pronoun, such as it in Arabic. Instead of it, so it's saying that an ism will either be masculine or feminine, even if it is neuter in English. For example, the word sun, shams, is going to be feminine. And the word qamar, which is moon, is going to be masculine. So there's no it. So if I wanted to say it, like it is beautiful, say I'm referring to the sun, it is beautiful. Now I'll call it a hiya, like a she. Hiya jamila, hiya jamila. And I'm saying that the moon is beautiful, I'll say huwa al-jamil, huwa jamil. So we would refer to even objects and things, it as a he or she. Is that clear? Any questions about that?
One question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh yeah, you can go ahead, Khalid.
Go ahead.
Masha, everyone's so
Okay, yeah. I was gonna ask, do we have to memorize these, or is there like a trick you can use to figure out the gender of an ism?
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a great question. It's totally random, so you will have to memorize them. Even until today, sometimes my teacher, I'll say, is this mudhakkar or mu'annath? You know, but it just comes with experience that you'll come to know the genders of words. What was the other question?
It was the same question.
Okay. Okay, so I think I've got Isa next, right? Wait, sorry, before you go ahead, Isa, Rania?
Is there like a default way, a gender to use if you don't know? Like, would you just use male if you don't know the gender in that scenario?
I mean, it would be erroneous, it would be a mistake, but just what you can, like when you're starting, that's how language is produced, it's just by trial and error.
Okay.
Even if people make mistakes, that's okay, and then we're just starting off here. So also be gentle with yourself.
Thank you.
I do have a same question.
Yeah.
Let's say if your technology, how would you determine it if it is a new thing?
If it's you mean like a neologism?
Yeah, a technology or evolving science or something. Do
Yes, you
you
mean like
assign that?
you mean words that have entered the Arabic language that are more recent?
Correct.
Yeah,
Correct.
that's why I also ask. Because how would you know? So, but you also have, I mean, we're actually going to be studying this in our next few lessons about gender, and there are certain signs of femininity. For example, if you see like a ta marbuta at the end, like you have al-jannah, that's a dead giveaway. This is a feminine word. So you have indicators, but then you also have this whole category of words that are feminine just because the Arabs decided so. But there's no rational reason. It's just because the Arabs said so. For example, the word nar, fire, is feminine. The word nafs, soul, is feminine. The word rih, wind, is feminine. Shams is feminine. And there's a list. So you can have that list, but it's not going to be everything. So you would have a pretty good idea if you do learn those few. But yeah, when it comes to neologisms, you'd probably have to find out. Okay, any other questions before Isa answers number 1? Okay, go ahead, Isa.
The pronoun is huwa, and it's say he is Allah the one.
Yes, very good. Amara, number 2.
The pronoun is hum. They.
Aziz.
The pronoun is anta, and I think it's second person masculine you.
Yes, good. Any questions? As I'm going to move to the next line. Was it Bilal who just went?
No, it was Aziz, I think.
Okay, so then Bilal, you next then.
So the pronouns first person, it's I am Allah.
Bushra, inna nahnu nazzalna.
Nahnu is the pronoun, and that's we.
Good. Salsa, number 6. Wallahu al-ghani wa antum al-fuqara.
Antum is the pronoun, and that's you plural.
Yes, you put plural, male.
Male, yeah.
Okay, good. Any other questions? Now, this is your question time, and since we are done with the material for today, I'm going to head over to the Quran. And we'll look at some stuff over there. Just hang on. Okay. Give me a second. Okay, let's do some exercises here from the Mus'haf. Can you see my screen of the Quran?
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay. Fatih, are you with me?
Yep.
Tell me about Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Oh, should I read it?
Well, what I want you to tell me is, what is this made up of? Is it made up of isms or fi'l or both?
Bismi is name, I'm pretty sure, so ism.
But what about the B?
Oh, yeah, that's gonna be harf and then ism.
Good. So that's and yes, and this is going to be your ism over here. Okay. And Allah,
That's gonna be ism.
ism, and Ar-Rahman,
Ar-Rahman, that's also ism.
and Ar-Rahim.
Ism.
Okay, good. So as I mentioned to you about that conversation about Hamzatul Wasl, the word ism actually looks like this originally. Ism. It starts Hamzatul Wasl. In this situation, it's been completely dropped. And that's where it just goes bismi. Also, the word ibn, which is son, you must have seen in many ahadith that this Hamzatul Wasl will actually be dropped, like on the authority of ibn so-and-so, ibn so-and-so, ibn so-and-so, that gets dropped. Okay.
I have a question.
Yes.
If there's no B at the front, then would it be read as ism?
Okay, excellent question. So that's why this Hamzatul Wasl is called a helping Hamza. So when there's nothing preceding it, then you do say the Hamza would be there. It's the helping Hamza. Yeah. It just kind of, it either is omitted in pronunciation, like even you look at this, the word annas, all of these als, they all start with the Hamzatul Wasl. So if it's on its own, you'll say annas. But if it's preceded by something, you don't say it. You go bi rabbin nas. You skip right over it into this. You don't even say it. Okay? Okay. Hadi?
Yes.
We've already covered A'udhu. So tell me about bi rabbin nas.
B is a harf. And then Rabbi is an ism, and then An-Nas is ism.
Okay, good. So now I want you to note something here, guys. Remember how we spoke about generally speaking? Because if you look at this word, he correctly stated that Rab is an ism. But as you note here, that this word does not have an al, nor does it have a tanween. And we learned that those are indicating signs that something is a noun. There is a reason for this. Of course, we'll come to it later, but he guessed correctly that this actually is an ism, and he probably guessed just based on his general knowledge. Hadi A, tell me about Malikin Nas.
Malikin Nas, Malik ism, and Nas Malikin also ism.
Okay, and then Nas is going to be the same. Let me ask Hawa, tell me about Min Sharril Waswasin Khannas.
Min is harf. Shar, I think, is fi'l.
Okay, so you're telling me that shar is a fi'l. What is your rationale for saying that this is a fi'l?
Min from. Oh wait, no, I don't know. I just feel like it's a fi'l, but I don't know.
Okay, so I want you to rationally work through it. I want you to tell me now what are the signs of an ism or a fi'l, and then make an educated guess.
So min sharri. So for ism, if it ends with a tanween, if it ends with a tanween, or does not end with a sukun, you know that it's ism, or if it has alif lam to begin with.
That's
So
right. But remember that that's generally speaking.
Okay. And
And
then for fi'il, min shar. Oh, it is a ism, isn't it?
okay. There's another thing I wanted to ask you. Now think about meaning. So guys, just even think in English, can a preposition come before a verb?
Yeah, you're right. No.
Yeah. So you will only ever have prepositions before nouns.
Okay.
Okay. And this is exactly a situation where you see how shar is in jar case because it's being impacted by this min.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Fatih has a question. Just a moment. Yes, Fatih?
Prepositions are just harfs, right?
All prepositions are huruf. Not all huruf are prepositions.
Okay.
Okay. Like, for example, if I say, for example, inna, like inna Allah wa malaikatahu yusalluna ala nabi. Indeed, or verily, inna is a type of a harf, but it's not a preposition. It's a different kind of a harf. So you get different kinds of huruf. They have different jobs. Yeah, okay. You can continue with al-waswas and al-khannas.
So harf, ism, waswas is a ism. So an ism.
Yes, that's good. Thank you. Oh, Kamal, you are joining us. Well, nice to see you. You were not here earlier. So when we have here, الذي يوسوس في صدور الناس, الذي, I am wondering we should skip that. Yeah, let's skip الذي for now. Tell me about يوسوس في صدور الناس.
So, yuwaswisu is a verb.
Yes, and what's giving information that this is a verb?
It's supposed to be preceded by a ya.
Yes, so not all the time, remember, but you are correct that one of the letters of anaitu is an indicator that we're dealing with the present tense verb here. Okay, so you're right. And then fi sudurin nas.
Fi sudurin nas. Nas is definitely ism. Sudur is ism. No, sudur is.
Why are you doubting yourself?
Sudur is ism too. And fi is verb.
You think fi is a verb? I want you to think back to the distinguishing characteristics of the ism, fi'l, and harf.
Sorry, so fi is not a verb. Then fi is, I don't know what fi is.
Who can jump in and tell us what fi is and why?
Fi is a harf.
Why?
Don't know why.
Who can give me a why?
It's only two.
It can't be alone.
Exactly. Whoever said it's huruf are generally 1 or 2 letters. Okay? That's why.
That's the only criteria that 2 letters become huruf.
Generally,
it could be 1 letter too.
At this point,
like B.
At this point, that's all I can say, because what I could say is that huruf have no meanings on their own. They have no meaning. They have to be associated with something. But if you don't know the meaning of a word, how would you? That's not going to be very helpful, right? So, Sophia, what do you mean that you lost the chart? I'm not sure what you mean by that. Okay, so did you finish up? Was it Kamal? You told me about sudur and nas. What is sudur and what's nas?
Nas is ism. Sudur, I think is also ism. I don't know for sure.
It is an ism. It is an ism, but you seem uncertain. Who can tell us why sudur is an ism?
I think Fi is a preposition.
Exactly, because Kamal, fi is a preposition, and you will only ever have prepositions appearing before isms. So Kamal, even though sudur does not have an al, nor does it have a tanween, note that it actually comes after a preposition, so it certainly is a noun. Sajjad?
Yeah, I just wanted to know the difference between yuwaswisu and waswasa.
That's a good question. So waswasa is the past tense verb. Yuwaswisu is the present tense verb. And I can tell you something interesting here as a mulahada, a note, is that most of the verbs in the Arabic language have a triliteral root, right? Almost all words have a triliteral root. For example, yeah, you can see this root is mim, lam, kaf. This root from Jannah would be jim, noon, noon, etc. Okay, if you have kitab, you'd have kaf, ta, ba. Sorry, kaf. Yeah, kaf, ta, ba. Kaf, kataba. Yeah. So most words have a triliteral root. However, you do get certain words that have a quadriliteral root, such as waswasa, yuwaswisu, wow, seen, wow, seen. The interesting thing about quadriliteral roots, those words tend to either have an onomatopoeic meaning. If you know of onomatopoeia in English, for example, the buzzing of a bee, the word buzz, it sounds like the buzzing of a bee. Or even if you say, I would even argue, if you say whisper, whisper, the word whisper almost has an onomatopoeic meaning. So here you have waswasa, yuwaswisu, which means to whisper. So it can either be onomatopoeic, or it could also mean like يعني repetitive action. So for example, if I just take this verb, which is not quadriliteral, but if I have here zalla, zalla means to slip. Okay, you're slipping or falling. But if I take this and I make it in a quadrilateral pattern, for example, zal, zala, zal, zala, yuzal, zilu, that is to constantly slip and fall. That's what happens in an earthquake. Zalzala, yuzalzilu. But you can see how there's like this repeated action. This is, you obviously do not have to know this. I'm just telling you for interest's sake. Okay. I think Khalid is next. من الجنة والناس.
حرف من جنتي is اسم و is حرف and الناس is اسم.
Yeah, excellent. Any other questions on the surah?
Yes, I had a question.
Yes, Ramiz.
So going back to the fi sudur, like I understand that you're saying that because it's a jar, there's a
Harf of jar.
yeah, harf of jar there. So, but because it's missing all the, I guess the basic telltale signs, the alif lam, and then the huruf, right, the stuff at the end. Would you, like, if it did not have the fi, would it? I guess not knowing the meaning, how would that work out?
Yes, that's an excellent question. So if it did not have the fi there, there's actually no way you would know that. And at this stage, this is what we are doing, and this is slowly, you'll start to see, okay. And this is why learning vocab is so important, because there can be no language without vocabulary. So you have to keep up with vocab, because if you were going then based on meaning, you know that sudur is the plural of sadr, which means breast or chest. Then you would go by meaning.
Okay, thank you.
And then also, as I said, in a few lessons down, well, actually it might be a couple months since this is the gradual cohort, we will come to study what is going on here. Why is there no ana, no tanween? And then you're able to identify them very easily. Okay. At right now, we're just dealing with the little bit that we know. Okay. Good.
Quick question on that. I don't know if this is whether a typo or not in the book, or but on the chart under the recognition tips for ism, fi'l, and harf, it has that it ends either in a tanween, but it also has a kasra with it, and it's on page 22 under the recognition tip. So I didn't know if, when looking at suduri, if any ism in that sense, if a kasra also is an indicator.
I'm sorry, where are you looking? I'm looking at page 22. Which?
Under recognition tips, for
Okay.
ism, it has can proceed by alif lam and then ends in either, and it has the tanween kasra, and it also has just a single kasra next to it.
Hmm. That's a very good point. That's also, you can go by that, but it's also a general tip. It's not always the case. Do you know why I say that? The reason I say that is because, okay. The reason I say that is because they are 100% correct that you are not going to have a verb that ends in a kasra. However, you do get certain verbs that end in a sukun, right? For example, if I have here, for example, katabat, which means that she wrote. Katabat, right? Sukun. However, if I have a word next to it and that has an al, katabat al-bint. In Arabic, you can't say it like that. You have to make it flow, for the flow. So to make it flow, how are you going to make it flow? You're going to actually then, in the pronunciation, you're going to make this katabatil bint. Katabatil bint. That's how you flow in Arabic. Doesn't mean that this is in jar case. It's just because it's for the flow of speech, right? So now, if you had to see this and you don't know that this is originally a sukun, you might say, aha, this is a kasra. It's a sign, you know? So what I'm saying is that they are correct that for an ism, that for verbs, sorry, you're not going to have kasras or tanween. You're not going to have kasra. But you might not be able to recognize that what was originally a sukun has been switched to a kasra just for the flow of reading. I hope that's not TMI. Is that too much information? I don't want to overwhelm you guys. But yeah, thank you for pointing that out. Okay, shall we go into this one? I think Khalid is next. Tell me about قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ الْفَلَقِ.
قل الفلق. قل is فعل.
Okay, that's a very good guess. I have no idea how you guessed that. Maybe just because of you know the meaning, but he's right. قُل is a verb. Okay. Continue.
أعوذ, I think is ism.
Is it? Go back to the identifying markers for ism, fi'l, harf. Well, let me ask you this. What was the telltale clue that something is a verb? Aneitu. So this is preceded by the hamza. A'udhu, it means I seek refuge. That's a verb. Okay. Continue.
اسم بربي اسم.
What is the B though? Do you remember that things are
Oh,
connected?
sorry. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, break it up.
Is حرف and then the اسم.
Yes, good. And then this is an ism and al-falaq.
اسم.
Okay, good. Okay, Muhammad Usman. Let's go with, this is a little bit tricky. Min sharri ma khalaq. This is going to be a bit tricky, but just give it a go. Nothing to lose.
Okay, can you hear me?
I can now, kind of.
All right. Yeah, I was struggling before. Okay, min sharri, min will be harf.
Yes, so harf al-jar.
And harf al-jar. And sharri, I think we said before, if it's preceded by preposition shar, then will be an ism.
Yes, it means evil. From the evil.
Ma.
Skip over ma. Just go to khalaq.
Khalaq, that will be fi'l.
Good. And what made you guess that?
I mean, I knew the meaning. Khalaq, what he created.
Yes. Okay. So you could say here, Well, this doesn't have an al, nor does it have a tanween. It does not start with anaitu, but you can just guess based on no al, no tanween, and by general knowledge at this point.
Yeah.
Yes, Fatih?
Is it because ma is a preposition?
Ma is not a preposition. Ma here actually is an ism. It's a noun. It is what we call, you know, in English, we call it a relative pronoun. For example, that is the teacher who taught me. That is the city which I visited, that which, the whom, that connecting thing. In English, we call it a relative pronoun. That's what it is. So I didn't want to go there. It's a little bit complicated. And even if it was a preposition, then khalaqa would have been in jar case, right? Yeah.
That's
Did you have another question?
I lost you there. Can you please repeat the entire thing for me for this ayah?
Okay, min is a harf of jar. Shar is a ism. Ma, we're not going to go there because it's a bit complicated, but know that ma is a noun. It's what we call in English a relative pronoun, like that, whom, which, those are all relative pronouns. And then khalaq is a verb. So even khalaq does not have an al, it doesn't have a tanween. So that's an indicator that it probably is not a noun. But also note that this does not start with anaitu. The reason being because this is a past tense verb. From the evil which he created. Okay, any other questions about that ayah? Okay, then I don't even know who's next. Was it Khalid who went last or was it Muhammad Usman?
I went last.
Okay.
Muhammad Usman.
منى ومن شر غاسق إذا وقب.
So we start with a harf for wa and min, right?
Yes, very good. So that's okay. So let's look at this. See, these are two different kinds of huruf. This is a harf and this is also a harf. This harf is a conjunction. Okay, you see how this is not jarifying. It's just a conjunction, meaning and. This is a harf of jar. Shar.
Shar is ism. And then غاسق is ism as well. إذا is harf.
Yes, skip over that.
And then wa is harf and
okay, be careful, be careful. This is not wow that's in isolation. This wa goes with this. Remember how I said most words have a triliteral root? You can see this is a partnership here of three.
So waqaba, which is also an ism.
You think it's an ism? Tell me why you think it's an ism. And if you need to change your mind, that's fine too.
I think I'm thinking of it as the adjective form, but with this tanween, it would be the verb.
What makes you think it's okay? It is a verb, but I'm curious to know why you thought it was an ism.
I was just thinking of it as like waqab, which doesn't that mean like.
Oh, so are you relying on your general knowledge in terms of meaning?
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Okay, so this is the same as khalaqa, waqaba. Your base past tense verbs tend to be in this pattern. Kataba, darasa, khalaqa, sami'a, jalasa. We haven't done verbs yet, but you know, I'm just introducing it to you. Shazia?
Yes, I do have a question about Iza. It's starting with E, like Hamza, and with the verb, that's one of the telltale that it will begin with. Hamza.
So, okay, so first of all, on that point, when it starts with, when you have an indicator that's a Hamza for your fi'al, it'll be with a sound. This is an E sound.
E sound. Okay, it has to be an A
Number
sound.
two also is that this is a very short word. either. Okay, and when we are introduced to verbs, you'll come to recognize the pattern that this just doesn't look like one. But I understand the question. Yeah. So just
thank you.
Keep that in mind. It'll become more, Sainabu?
Yes, I just had a question. Is there any way to tell if the wa is an and or part of a word? I'm guessing in this scenario, it might be part of a word because this is just 2 letters and it likely is not a harf.
Yeah, because you're not going to just find qaba. There's no word like qaba.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you'd see this is actually the first triliteral root of a word. It goes together. That as well will come with experience because you'll know that you're not going to find a qa and a ba together in isolation.
Okay.
Right? You can find 2 letters in isolation, but then there would be a shadda. I'll show you what I mean. For example, you can have here, for example, the word jarra or like dakka. Okay, these are 2, they're actually not 2 words, by the way, because shadda means a duplicate. So when you're looking at jim, jarra, it's actually a jim plus a ra and a ra.
Okay.
So if you're finding 2 words like this with no shadda, that's like really random. Okay, so then you can guess this goes together. Yeah.
Okay.
Was there another question?
Yes, that was very helpful. Thank you.
Oh, I thought somebody else had one. Okay. Okay. Amr? ومن
Yes.
شر النفاثات في العقد.
What I think is harf. Min is harf. Sharr I think is ism. Hasidin.
No. We are by النفاثات.
Oh, okay. Sorry. ومن شر النفاثات. There's a al, even though it's not pronounced, so I'm gonna say it's an ism.
Yes. Whether you pronounce it or not is irrelevant. The fact that there's an al there is your indicator. Good. Fi?
Fi is harf.
Uqad?
And then it ends in ism.
Uqad is ism, that's correct. Ramiz? وَمِن شَرِّ حَاسِدٍ إِذَا حَسَدَ. So here you can see now it's probably getting easier because there's a lot of repetition here.
Right. So the same thing with the woman and shar is the wa and the min are the harf, and then the shari is the ism. The hasidin is it like it would be ism because of the din.
Because of the tanween. Tamam.
Tanween, yes. So the hasidin, the idha is what did you say about the idha earlier? I was trying to understand.
It's not an ism, it's not a fi'l.
It's not an ism or a fi'l.
Harf.
It's a harf, okay. And then hasad hasad is it's you said it's a harf, right? So that would also be an ism.
Wait, sorry. Hasad is what?
You said the idha is a harf, right?
Yes.
So then the hasad would be ism.
No. Okay. Okay. I'm
So
going to say pause. I said that the word that comes after a harf of jar has to be an ism.
jar.
So I don't expect you to know that. And this is not even in the curriculum at this level. Just telling you because people are asking me, well, how do how do I know?
That's where my confusion. That's why I asked for the fi sudurin because that was the same thing. That it was. I mean, would it be automatic or would it not be? And that's why. So this you said this is a fail.
No. Hang on. So with fi sudurin nas, that fi is a harf of jar. That's why sudur is in jar case.
Okay.
However, this harf is not a harf of jar. It's just a harf. Not every harf is a harf of jar. So you can't rely on that, right? Because if this was a harf of jar, this word would have been in jar case, but you can see it's hasada.
Okay. So could you go back to the sudur because it's because of the kasra there? That's a harf of jar, right?
Yes, exactly. So
I understand. I understand. Okay, so that would be either that. So that's just a harf, and then the hasada is, and then it's a fail.
Yeah. So and from the evil of the envier when he envies.
Okay. Now, I got it now. Thank you.
Okay, good. I believe it's Rania who's next.
So kul is a herbs.
Qul is, okay. So may I make a guess that you guessed that qul is a harf because it's only 2 letters, right?
Yes.
Okay, so that's a very reasonable guess given the information that you were presented with in the beginning. This, however, is actually a verb, and why it looks so short is because it's an imperative, it's a command. Qul, say. But it actually comes from the verb qala yaqulu, to say. So you're not expected to know this. People would just go by the general knowledge at this point for this, but know that qul is actually a fi'l. Okay?
Thank
Okay.
you.
So,
Huwa is a herbs.
it's a what?
Herbs.
Okay. So now pause here. Do you remember where we saw this word huwa in this lesson today?
Yeah, it's a pronoun. So it is I remember it's a ism.
Exactly, because pronouns are all nouns.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so wait, this is a good time to stop. Okay, let's explain this. Now, people are going to say, I'm predicting a question, yeah? And the question I'm waiting for is, well, okay, so huwa is a noun. So how am I supposed to know if it's in raf, nasb, or jar? Right? Like, an un in. Okay, do you see where I'm going with this? The thing, though, is that even though pronouns are nouns, they are cemented. Like, how do I explain this? Other words, say, for example, we take the word qalam, pen. Okay, you can have qalamun, qalaman, qalamin. It can change. Whether it's in nominative case, genitive case, or accusative case, qalam can become qalamun, qalaman, qalamin. With the pronouns, right? Like we did huwa, huma, hum, hiya, huma, hunna, anta, antuma, antum, anti, antuma, antuna, ana, wa nahnu. Those are nouns, but think of them as being cemented. They can't change their clothes. So you're never going to find huwu or huwa or huwi. It's always going to be huwa. It's always going to look like huwa. It will still take a role or function, like it's either going to be raf, nasb, or jar, but it's not going to be like changing its t-shirt. It's just going to stay the same. So I want to make that distinction so people might get confused. I hope that somewhat made sense.
Yeah, I understand that.
Okay, so huwa is a noun, as you said. Sorry, I'm using the wrong thing. It's what's a noun now?
Ism.
Yeah, okay. And then Allah and ahad?
Ism.
Okay, good. Yes, they are both asma. They both isms, right? Thank you. I've got somebody here who's SA. Who's SA? Sa. Who's SA?
Excuse me, I have a question. Just want to repeat what I heard to verify. So, although we said nouns and pronouns are ism, however, nouns will take a shape of 3 categories: rafa, nas, and jar, right? But pronouns will not go into those categories.
No.
Am I understanding it correctly?
No. All nouns will take a case. All nouns. And you get even because we're going to see other nouns, for example. Yeah, I'm not going to go there, but you have other nouns, right? All nouns will take a case, but the point being is that the pronoun category, they don't change their clothes. It's like deep down, it's either going to be a raf, nasb, or jar, but it's not going to be like changing its signage. You know, the other one's going to be like, hey, I'm carrying a dhamma right now. I am definitely a marfu word here. And the other one's going to say, you know, so those ones, we call them mu'rab. You just see that they will change outwardly. These ones are like static. Think of them as being cemented, but nouns will still take a case.
Got it. Okay. It's going to be harder to identify them into 3 categories because there is not going to be a visual
yes,
marker
exactly.
for it.
Yes, so then now you're going to have knowledge of grammar. So if I say, for example, like this, huwa rasul. This means he is a messenger. He is a messenger. Okay, so now I want you to tell me in English.
Okay.
In English, if I say he is a messenger, what part of speech is he?
Pronoun.
No, that I'm talking like now in part of speech, like in terms of its function. Like, is it a predicate? Is it a subject? Is it a verb? Like if I say he is a messenger, what part of speech is he?
Subject.
The subject.
So now I want you to tell me what case is this huwa in?
Oh, going back to that, those three categories, Rafa.
There you go.
Yeah.
This is in the rough case. This is in rough case. So now when you are reading huwa rasul, because you have enough knowledge of grammar, you know that this is a normal sentence with a subject and a predicate. You will be able to tell that this huwa is in the rough case, even though it's not showing like a dhamma or a dhammatain or something. Does that make sense, guys?
Yes.
Okay. Fatih?
Would this also apply to adjectives?
Well, adjectives are also nouns. Yes, adjectives are also nouns. So adjectives will also take an anu in. For example, if I say it can be jamilatun, jamilatan, jamilatin. It can change, right? The
So
things
they're not cemented.
Pardon?
They're not cemented.
No. Cemented would be like your pronoun chart and words that like, remember I told you the which and the whom and the that, like الذي, like or ذلك الكتاب لا ريب فيه. That is the book in which there is no doubt. ذلك, that, it's a pointing word, a pointing noun. It's a noun, but you're never going to find ذلك or ذلك. It'll just be ذلك. It's always going to be ذلك, but it'll still take a case. So my point being is that they're going to be categories of nouns that are nouns. They're going to take a case, but they're not going to be changing their clothes, okay? Their appearance, that's how they are. Even for example, الذين, that's not going to change. Okay, anyone else other than Fatih? Okay, good. Sorry, who was SA? Who's SA? Are you there? Okay, if not, then I'll go to Sophia. Sophia, you want me to unmute you?
I'm here.
Okay, is this Sophia?
It's Sophia. But
Okay,
Sophia that I'm not SA.
Yeah,
I'm
I
not
think that
SA.
you are showing up on two different devices.
I am.
Yeah, your name is appearing in two different devices. Anyway, okay, go ahead. What do you say for Allahu Samad?
Allahu. Oh God.
Is Allah an ism, a fi'l, or a harf?
Ism.
Yes, and As-Samad?
Ism.
Ism because it has an al. Okay,
Yes.
good. Thank you. Zainabu, lam yalid wa lam yulad.
Lam is it an ism?
Try again. I want you to go back to your definitions of an ism. Does an ism end in a sukun?
No, it
No.
can't.
Sophia, I'm just going to keep you muted, okay? To just eliminate the background noise. Okay, so this is going to be a harf. Tell me about Yalid.
Yalid is a verb. So
It
it's
is.
a
It's a verb because you can see it starts with a ya. What
Yes.
is wa? What is wa?
What is a harf?
This is a harf, and then yulad.
Yulad is a fi'l.
It's a fi'l, also starts with a ya. Okay, thank you, Zainab. And Sajjad, the last ayah here.
Wa is harf. And then lam is also harf as before. Yeah, I mean, kullahu is, I'm just going to go with my knowledge. Everything, I guess, but yeah.
And don't go with your knowledge. Let's look at the word yakun. Look at it. Just look at it. What does yakun look like?
So yeah, it starts with a yeah, so it's got to be a fa'il.
Okay, good. What about lahu?
Lahu, that's a good one.
This is a trick one. This is a trick, but we can talk about it. Give it a go and then I'll explain.
I would guess it's a harf.
Okay. This is made up of two things. The first one, the first part is a harf. You are right. This is a harf. But there's a second part too.
Who is the same thing as he?
So what is that?
That's as
Excellent. So let me explain what's going on here. You know, and you know what? I scanned the book. I didn't see a list of prepositions. I will give you guys one. Okay, that might be helpful to you. Li, as we said from the beginning, is a preposition, right? Li. Who is an attached pronoun, which we haven't studied yet. Remember we did huwa, huma, hum. Those are independent, detached pronouns. You will also come to study attached pronouns. For example, this pen is for him, lahu, or for her, laha, for us, lana, for you all, lakum, lakum dinukum waliya din. Okay, all those kums and whos and has added to stuff, those are attached pronouns. Pronouns. When you have a harf of jar that is attached to a pronoun, when it's attached to a pronoun, the li switches to a fatha. So this lahu is originally a li, which is a harf, plus the hu, which is an ism. I hope that makes sense. Could you complete kufu 1 and ahad?
kufu 1 is ending with a fatha tanween, so it's an ism.
Yes, good. And ahad?
Ahad is starting with hamza, so it's a fail, but
it's not a fair. It's not a fair. What might be throwing you off is this meme, because this word is actually like this, ahadun, but they've put the meme here because this is a tajweed thing. Because if you are going to recite Quran and continue, you'll say وَلَمْ يَكُنْ لَهُ كُفُوًا أَحَدٌ بِسْمِ اللَّهِ الرَّحْمَنِ الرَّحِيمِ. So this meme, they put this in if you are going to join and connect to the ba. That's why. So, but this is actually ahadun. It's tanween there. So when you see tanween, you know that this is a?
Tanween is an ism and also, but the other thing that confuses me here. So I know it reflects unique, but then why is it starting with a hamza?
You get nouns that start with a hamza too. Remember when you see the anatu, those are just like general signs for a verb. It doesn't mean that every single verb is going to start with a hamza. If I say the name Ahmed, Ahmed starts with a hamza, that's a noun, that's a person.
Got it.
Or even if I say the word Asad, like a lion is also starts with a hamza. So, okay. So our time is up. If there are any questions, I'm happy to answer them in closing. I did receive a message here that apart from the Zoom slideshows, there's something else we should be following. You just need to do the prep work and come to class, and then you're good. Okay? You don't show up for class brand new. Everything of this stuff should have been prepped at home. Okay? Any other questions?
I have a question.
Yes, Hadi. Hadi, go ahead, Hadi.
Sorry, just one question about the walam yakullahu. So the lam being the harf and the ha being the ism. So can you just please briefly explain that again?
Which one? This lahu?
Yeah, that one.
Lam is a harf. Is an ism. When you have an attached pronoun connecting to huruf, it switches to a fatha. That's what's going to throw people off, because it's not lihu, it becomes lahu. That's what happens with la, with the word li, only li.
Okay.
It's a unique thing for Li.
Okay.
Connected, it makes a la. Okay.
Thank you.
And then I think Sophia had a question.
How do I raise my hand? I don't see it on my screen.
No, I don't see a raised hand. Did you have a question?
Yes. What will we study next week? Next class will be.
So then for next week, you will prepare for lesson 1A, the textual analysis part.
Okay.
Okay, so that's what we're going to do. Then at the end of next week's class, that's when you will take the level 1 quiz. So don't take a quiz now, guys. No quiz now.
Right,
Quiz
right.
is when we complete the whole lesson 1. Any other questions? Okay, then I guess we will end there. Please do not hesitate to drop me a message in the chat. I'm happy to answer. Muhammad Usman, did you have a question? Because I see that you are unmuted.
No, I don't have a question. Thank you.
Okay, well then we'll see you next week. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. We wish you a good and productive week. And yes, study hard every day and learn the vocab. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Assalamu alaikum.
All right, thank you.
Very
Have a
well.
good day.
You too.